Hello everyone and welcome back to Mark's Action Figures. Today we're going to look at He-Man, the original release of He-Man in 1982 from the Masters of the Universe. I still own my original figure. This guy is almost as old as I am. And I loved this figure so much. I just enjoyed this guy. I mean, he was everything I've always wanted in an action figure. Now, He-Man was originally supposed to be Conan the Barbarian. It's one of the biggest rumors in toy history. And today we're going to separate fact from fiction, while taking a deep dive into the original 1982 He-Man figure. So let's start with the figure itself. I mean, released in 1982 by Mattel, He-Man wasn't just another action figure. He redefined what action figures could be. At about 5.5 inches tall, He-Man had completely unique sculpt for the time. I mean, when you compare this guy to Star Wars action figures from Hasbro, or Kenner, it was Kenner back in the day, or G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, pretty much any other line, he really, really stood out. Massive proportions, exaggerated muscles, and a powerful stance that made him look larger than life. He also had the iconic action feature, the rubber band legs mechanism, and also there's a feature that allowed him to give you the power punch, or power punch his enemies. Mine still works, which is amazing after, 45 years? He came with a battle axe, a shield, and his power sword. And of course, the design is pure, fantasy barbarian, fur-like loincloth, harness armor, boots, and he's got bracers. They're not painted on the original figure, but they're there. He has bracers, skin color bracers. This wasn't sci-fi like Star Wars. This was sword and sorcery brought into the toy aisle. And that's where Conan comparisons begin. So, the myth. He-Man was Conan. For years, fans believed that He-Man was originally a Conan toy line that just got rebranded. The story goes something like this. Mattel secured the Conan license, saw the violent 1982 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and because of the R rating, the movie was too violent and featured some bedroom fun. So Mattel panicked and quickly changed Conan into He-Man. Sounds believable, right? Except it's not true. Based on documented timelines and internal records, He-Man was already being developed as early as 1980. Designer Mark Taylor had been working on barbarian-style heroes like Torak years before the Conan deal was even in motion. Even early concepts like Castle Grayskull and characters like Skeletor were already taking shape. He-Man came from Mattel's own original ideas. Now, this is where things get interesting. In 1981, Mattel did pursue the Conan license, but the plan wasn't to turn He-Man into Conan. Instead, they were going to use their existing Big Jim figures. This guy, right here. And adapt them into Conan toys with new heads and outfits, completely different from He-Man's exaggerated design. This is my near mint Big Jim figure. 1971. Almost looks new. I treasure this action figure so much. I love this guy. We could do another review on Big Jim and the Big Jim line. But this is what they were going to use. This is what Mattel was planning to do for their proposal for Conan figures. This is what he was going to look like. With, of course, you have to reimagine another head and some accessories, but this is the buck that we're going to use. Not this. At the same time, He-Man was evolving into something bold, colorful, even larger than life. Eventually, Mattel backed out of the Conan deal, likely due to the film's mature content. But by then, Masters of the Universe was already ready to launch. I mean, they were ready to go. So the truth is, He-Man was not Conan. He was already his own thing. But, of course, there was influence. Artists like Frank Frazetta, famous for painting Conan, and I just so happen to have a Frazetta Girls Conan right here. And I can do a separate review on these guys because they are fantastic. Frazetta Girl Conan. Wow! This phenomenal figure. So Frank Frazetta was famous for painting Conan. And that helped shape the visual DNA of He-Man. That's why the similarities feel so real. So what did actually happen to Conan? So if Mattel didn't go through with Conan, who did? That's where Remco comes in. Now, you may not remember this, but Remco secured the rights and released their own line of Conan the Barbarian action figures in the early 1980s. And these figures, well, they were very different from He-Man. They were more grounded. Their buck was almost the same, let's face it. They were as exaggerated, but they had maybe more of a gritty tone that you would have found in the films. They included Conan himself along with villains and supporting characters from the movie universe. So in a twist of fate, the Conan toy line did happen, just not by Mattel. So let's go back to 1982. Remco released a toy line called Lost World of the Warlord. This line essentially launched all at once, in a single major wave, sometimes split into heroes and villains assortments. Included Travis Morgan, the Warlord, Machiste, Mariah, Mikola, and Hercules. Villains included Deimos, Stark, Desmond, Koth, Gorgo, and Shadow. When they eventually launched Conan the Barbarian, that line, it was 1984, so 2 years later, using the same molds, if you will, or the same bucks for Conan. This line was much more clearly wave-based from a collector's standpoint than the previous waves from Remco. And they included, in 1984, Conan the Warrior, Conan the King, Conan the Adventurer, sometimes region-specific naming for that. The allies included Zula, depending on region and distribution. And villains, well, you had Toth Amon, Skeletal Warrior, Jewel Thief, very similar to Skeletor, very similar. Ape Man, Beast-type enemies. Today, I actually own several Conan figures from different lines. I showed you the Frazetta Girls Conan, but I also have these comic-based Super 7 Conan figures, which are really, really nice. I love these guys. They are fantastic. Also, I have this figure, which is from our friends at Four Horsemen Studios, and they designed this guy. He's called the Barbarian. Reminds me a lot of Conan, very, very much, and absolutely beautiful, beautiful figure. So Oh, and I'm also going to be getting soon, and I can't wait to get my hands on the Icon collection, Icon Collectibles Conan Battle of the Blackstone, which I have seen a lot of pictures so far, but I can't wait to see those figures. So Conan has been part and parcel of action figure collecting for a very long time, and there are many different items that you can get and different lines that you could get in your collection today. There's also 112 Mesco collectible Conans that you can get for your collection, which are fantastic. So, in conclusion, when you look at the original 1982 He-Man, you're not looking at a leftover idea. You're looking at the birth of an entirely new universe. A universe inspired by fantasy, sci-fi, and yes, even a little bit of Conan. But ultimately something completely original. And honestly, that's what makes Masters of the Universe so legendary. If you enjoyed this deep dive into He-Man history, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let me know. Did you ever believe the Conan myth? Until next time, I will see you in the next review.